That field is full of kangaroos over there.
Is it? Where? I can't see one.
They're all over there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, is that them? They're all standing up?
Yeah. At least I think they're kangaroos. It could be cows.
Before the kangaroos moved in, the Bathurst Plains were home to Australia's first ever gold rush.
Nowadays, the rush is on the road. Today, this is the epicentre of the muscle car scene and the bitter V8 rivalry between Ford and Holden.
And Bathurst is famous for this amazing Mount Panorama and this 1,000-kilometre road race that they do between Ford and Holden. And that's why we wanted to come in.
Yeah, and you have to be very careful about which side of that argument you pick, because once you're in one camp, there's no way you can choose. It's fierce, isn't it?
This rivalry has been going on since Ford's biggest competitor, General Motors, bought Holden in the 1930s.
Australia's wheelers and dealers focus attention on Bathurst, New South Wales.
By the late 60s, it went stratospheric as both companies took the competition onto the track in this epic gladiatorial battle.
In the decades that followed, the cars would become faster and the hostility fiercer.
But we can only turn around one V8 while we're here, so do we choose Ford or Holden?
Which side of the camp are we pitching ourselves then?
I think you're going to like this. Blue Oval.
Love it.
We're going Ford Falcon XR8, 2005, 93,000 miles, 150,000 kilometres.
That sounds amazing. We're a great car.
But we haven't come all this way for any XR8. I found us a special Boss 260 edition. When it was released in 2003, it was the Dingo's Danglies, but not for long.
At the time, there was this arms race of horsepower between the two manufacturers on their road cars. So Holden obviously had to beat Ford, so they introduced the world to the HSV GTS.
Yeah.
And it's got 412 horsepower. So I was thinking, well, why don't me and you play the underdog? Why don't we get this Falcon and let's up the horsepower and see if we can beat the Holden?
You're talking about adding power, and
Yes.
I love that already. Oh, you see that? See this?
Yeah, I knew you'd
you
like
said
it.
more horsepower.
I knew you'd like it.
Mate, I love it.
I can't wait to see this car. I can't wait. Should we get there quickly? You ready? 3, 2, 1.
The XR8's currently tucked up in a secure storage facility. The owner, Daniel, can't be here today, but he's given me the code so we can take a look for ourselves.
Sounds to me like he's got it hidden away to avoid getting smoked off the lights by a more powerful Holden GTS.
Right then, mate, this is the one. Here we go. Ready?
Go on then.
Yes!
Mate, that is an absolute beauty. Look at it.
What a machine.
This looks in such good condition. What an absolute weapon of a car.
Should we get it out in the sunshine and have a proper look round it?
Daniel's looking for a hefty $24,000, which puts us near the top end of the used XR8 market.
It's a big investment, considering what we'll need to spend to turn it into a Holden beater.
Pop the bonnet as you get out. Right, you ready?
Look at the size of it.
Right, so we're staring at a 5.4 litre V8, naturally aspirated, so it hasn't got superchargers or turbos, but, you know, we could cut a big hole up here and stick a great big thing on top.
It is an absolute monster.
It's a great foundation, but somehow we'll still need to add at least an additional 60 more horsepower.
All while still making a profit at the end. It's a big ask.
It's got 150,000 kilometres, and yet, look at it, there's no real signs of wear on anything. I mean, this is essentially a family saloon that Ford took down the gym and just bulked up, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They made it the ultimate Aussie muscle car.
Yeah.
And on initial inspection, it's arrow straight.
Yeah.
It looks perfect.
I'm just hoping that when we get behind the wheel and drive it, we get exactly the same feeling, because this seems almost too good to be true. There's still a massive challenge, of course, in turning this into something that's even more powerful than it already is in our budget, but the signs at the moment are all good.
Right, well, let's get it out on the road, see what it's like. I'm driving, by the way.
This time, mate, this time. Here we go. That's a good feeling, isn't it?
Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it. It's so silky smooth. Nothing wrong with the steering, no rattles, no groans. Listen to it inside.
It is good, isn't it?
The biggest problem we've got with this car is it's just a few grand too much. Normally, if there's faults with a car, there's something to repair, you can tell that to the person in part of the negotiation.
Exactly.
But this car, hello, Daniel, your car's absolutely mint. Will you take a few grand off? I think the only thing we can play on is the fact, and it's reading the clues here, right? The fact that it's in the storage facility, it's not on his driveway. He clearly needs this car out of his life.
And we can take it away off his hands today. Maybe he can save some money, get rid of the storage unit or fill it with something else.
Good point.
And then if we do get it, then we've got another challenge in how do we improve it. Our budget is not unlimited, so we are going to have to be a bit more clever about how we do it.
So I'll have to go to work on the price. You'll have to go to work and be creative about how to have performance without spending too much money.
Well, luckily, that is exactly what we both do.
Top end, these cars are selling for around $30,000. So if we buy it at the current price, we'd have the same budget for power upgrades as Elvis's annual spend on T-shirts.
To beat the Holden and make a profit, we're going to need Mike to be more charming than a baby koala.
Daniel, how you doing, fella?
Good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, not bad at all.
Good. Why are you selling it, Dan?
Mate, I just need to clear some space for another car.
Okay, well, that makes sense. That's why it's in the storage unit. OK, well, I can see that you've really looked after it, which makes my job a little bit more difficult because me and Elvis would love to buy it, but we want to try and just get it a little bit cheaper. How receptive are you to having a bit of a deal?
Look, mate, I'm pretty negotiable, so
That's good.
What are you thinking?
$24,000 what you're asking. We were kind of hoping that you might accept $20,000.
Yeah, okay.
That didn't go down well.
For a little bit more. If you can get me 21, good deal.
It's still good.
Mate, that is fantastic. What a deal. We are absolutely... Hold out your hand. You got a virtual deal. We're over the moon with that, so thank you very much.
Thanks, Daniel. Nice one.
Cheers, everybody. Bye-bye.
Mate, that is good. That is good.
He could. I thought he was going to say 23, and I was going to say yes, but he said 21, which is brilliant.
To ensure we make a profit, that leaves us with a budget of around $6,000 for extra horsepower. This is going to be tighter than a kangaroo's pouch.
We've picked a side now. We've got to deliver upon it.
Too right, I don't fancy upsetting the Australian Ford fanatics either. Luckily for us, we're already in the home of the Aussie muscle car.
Which means there's an entire ecosystem of mechanics and engine specialists who can help us add the extra horsepower we so desperately need.
And through my network of contacts, I found us the perfect place to start.
Oh, mate, this looks all right, doesn't it? What a great-looking shop.
Look at that.
Yeah, nice.
A fully fitted out garage run by a motorsport mad family who love nothing more than making cars go faster.
OK. Chaps, how you doing?
Good,
you
how
must
are you?
be Joe. It's written on your T-shirt. Joe, how are you? I'm Mike.
Good, how are you? Joe, Elvis.
Jason.
Jason, nice to meet you.
Hey, Jason.
How are you?
Man.
Well, first and foremost, thank you, Joe. When I spoke to you on the phone, thank you for being so accommodating because we do need space, and this looks absolutely superb.
Yeah, thank you for calling us. You can accommodate whatever you need. All
Lovely.
good.
It's really good, man.
Well, listen, we have got what we hope is the ideal Aussie muscle car. Come and have a look. So there you go then, lads. It's a 2005 Boss 260 XR8 V8. What do you think?
It's not bad. Pretty tidy. Looks all right. It's a Ford.
You're a Holden man.
Yeah. What's the plan for it? What do you want to do?
This car in this category at the moment comes off second best to its Holden contemporary, and we want to address that. So I want to give it more performance, which means more horsepower out of that V8 engine is the starting point.
Beautiful.
Plus, make it a bit louder as well. It doesn't say I'm here. It's very quiet.
A lot of production V8s in Australia are like that. Some of them you can't even tell. So a nice exhaust would be nice. And
Yeah. Shall we start work, get it up on the ramp?
run them in.
You drive it. Now straight now, that's it. Yeah, come.
Whilst I get the car prepped to become the ultimate Holden beater,
I'm going shopping for our first power upgrade.
When you think about it, if we're going up against a Holden GTS, we're going to need an instant 70, possibly 80 horsepower, and a supercharger is an effective way to get it.
So whilst Mike's off, hopefully trying to track me down a supercharger for this thing, I'm going to start stripping it down and getting ready for it.
Whilst Elvis is beavering away, I've sat on the computer and started to look for a supercharger. And this is what I found, and this isn't good reading, because superchargers tend to come in an awful lot of money out here. So a Ford Falcon Vortex supercharger kit is $9,129. That's going to add so much onto the sale price of the car, the chances are we'll never get rid of it. Elvis!
What's that face for?
Sitting there on the internet and trying to find a supercharger for this car, it is possible. The only problem is, yeah, you got it. I mean, it's like 10,000 Australian dollars.
So we've got to find another way, without spending that amount of money, to generate a lot more power out of this car.
Correct.
We've come to a land down under.
To celebrate one of Australia's biggest rivalries.
Neighbours versus home and away.
Not quite, mate. We're talking even bigger than that. Ford versus Holden. We're trying to turn the underpowered XR8
It's got so much potential
into a machine capable of beating its nemesis, the GTS.
Which will hopefully attract the attention of a Ford fan with deep pockets and net us a handsome profit.
The original idea was to bolt on performance to this car in the form of a supercharger. We can't afford it, so I'm now having to think up different ways to make up that added performance that we need. And I've come up with a number of smaller, incremental ideas to make that happen. The first of which is changing all 4 of these camshafts to hopefully give us a bigger bang for our buck. Hopefully a few less bucks.
Combined with the other power upgrades I'm looking to add, the uprated camshafts will give us a boost of between 10 to 20 horsepower. A lot less than the 70 to 80 we may have got with a supercharger. Beating that GTS and turning a profit is going to be harder than we thought.
Right, there we go. Finally got access to the first of our 4 camshafts. Now this is a standard camshaft, and I have now plumped for a stage 2 camshaft upgrade kit. Cost around 1,500 Aussie dollars, around £750. We could have gone for something that's way more high performance, but it would have probably compromised the general running of the car. And what this is going to give us is a different set of profiles on these lobes. That means that the valves are going to open for longer and open further, getting more combustible mixture into that combustion chamber, hopefully giving us more performance. When I combine this with the other elements that I'm going to change on the car, we should be well on our way to getting the performance upgrade that we're after.
As this is a V8 engine, I've got 4 camshafts to replace, 2 on the inlet side and 2 on the outlet. Before I place each one in the block, I'm applying a little graphite engine building paste, which will ensure there's no scuffing once they start to rotate.
Gradually start to reassemble the engine, and it should be the first stage towards us getting closer to that Holden GTS that we're trying to beat, at a fraction of the cost of a supercharger.
Whilst Elvis is busy squeezing horses into our engine, I'm on my way to discover just how bitter this famous rivalry really is.
What a lovely part of the world this is. Actually really pleasant.
At the battleground of Australian V8 motorsport, Mount Panorama. Since the 60s, Fords and Holdens have duked it out on this iconic mix of narrow straights and sharp twisting bends. And alongside the circuit is a historic motoring museum. And pride of place are the 2 cars that sparked this iconic on and off track rivalry.
This is basically the genesis of this whole Ford versus Holden battle that ensued at Bathurst. This is a Ford Falcon. What a wonderful looking thing. Great big saloon car. 289 engine, it's a big V8. It's the first time they run a V8 here at Bathurst. In 1967, obviously being a V8 and a bit of a muscle car, boom, goes and wins. So Holden, they've got their brand new car, the Monaro. They're not going to let that one lie, are they? 1968 Monaro win, and there the battle starts, and that battle continued for decades, not only on the circuit, but off the circuit too. But this is where it all begun. Pretty cool, eh?
To date, Holden have won the Bathurst 1000 more times than Ford. So if me and Elvis are going to chalk up one for the underdog, we're going to need a car to beat. Which means I have to fraternise with the enemy. I feel dirty already.
Out, fellas, how you doing?